Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built. And last week you saw me deal with a bunch of bits and pieces, and we've still got more little bits and pieces to tidy up to get it ready for the dyno. All right guys, welcome back. And yeah, those of you watching last week, you will have seen that I got the speed sensor underneath the car, I got the bonnet window and the bonnet clearance sorted out. Bunch of little bits and pieces. If you missed it, I'll put a link up above so you can catch up. And please, as always, think about subscribing. It does help the channel out. Also likes and comments, it all helps. So I've been waiting. Let's have a look and see how that bonnet window came up. All right, so after all that, it looks like I'm going to have to paint it on the outside anyway. As I feared, trying to stick the polycarbonate to basically the paint by putting the paint in between, it sort of lifted the paint in spots. It's still held nice and solid, but yeah, it's just not a good connection. So I'm going to have to paint the strip on the outside, which is not the end of the world. So at least that is done for now. That is a later job. Let's move on to something else. We're going to move to the back. And I need to get some tail lights wired up. Now I've got most of the wiring in there, so it should be relatively straightforward. And then we're going to see if we can actually have tail lights, headlights, that sort of thing, so that the car can be registered to the road. Oh, looks like I've got the indicator and park light around the wrong way. And I chose to run all 4 headlights for high and low beams for better visibility at night. All right, so now we have all of the lights working, which is great. It was a fair bit of messing around. Basically, it's almost a whole day by the time I played around with it. I had that little motorbike PDM unit that was a little bit difficult to set up in the car. Honestly, if I did it again, I would probably get a regular PDM. That was a good affordable unit. In the end, I've only really used it for the lights and the horn. And the trouble is it's made for a motorbike. So a lot of the standard setup is you have to hit each switch twice to turn it like indicators on. Instead of indicator on, indicator off, it's designed for a motorbike. So you have to go indicator on, flick it again for indicator off. So I had to go through, there is ways to program that out. So that has been done now. And now we have all of the lights and everything working, but it was a little bit of messing around. All right, next thing is I need to actually get this thing up to operating temperature and running and driving. So got to see if we've conquered all those leaks and got everything ready to go. So let's do that. well, that was a bust. I think basically the plugs are fouled because it's running so rich, because it hasn't been tuned yet. It's now running like a pig and missing, and yeah. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to pull all the plugs, I'm going to clean the plugs, put them back in, and we'll see what we can do about getting this running. I also, seems like I thought I had the cam angle sensor issue fixed, and it looks like that is not fixed. So we need to do something about that. We need to do something about even just the base idle tune, because that's just fouling plugs and just far too rich to even get it sort of up to temperature. So we've got a bit of work to do. All right, well, the next thing I've got to do is I have been having all types of issues getting the cam angle sensor to register on the Ferrari engine. So originally this had 2 cam angle sensors because it ran 2 ECUs, basically ran 2 of everything. These I've tried connecting up to full 12 volts. I've had them connect to 8 volts. They seem to work on the bench at 12 volts, but they're still not reading it in the car. So I'm going to make my own replacement now. I'm going to use the same type of cherry bomb sensor that I used for the speed signal last week. This is actually the same sensor because I've got to order another one through Raceworks. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own mounting. So I've started doing that out of a block of aluminium. I've got the base hole, and I've got my distances set. So now I'm going to get on the lathe and make an insert that I can drill and tap. I've got the correct 12x1 thread tap for making it to fit this sensor. So let's get on the lathe and start turning something up. I worked out the original one I cut out was out of too thin of a piece, so I used some thicker 13mm aluminium. After cleaning up the edges with a sander, I spent a fair bit of time with the 4-jaw chuck to get it nice and centered and square using the dial indicator, and then I started making my center bore hole to hold my sensor, using the chuck to tap out the center. Then I started turning down the whole piece to get it to the shape that I wanted. All right, so that was a bit of time on the lathe, and basically I took the original sensor and then ground down and made my own little flange that is exactly the same as the original, and even matched them so that they have exactly the same depth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Loctite on this, and it's also got a locking nut on the back. So this will be able to lock in at the exact same depth, so it's not going to interfere with the cams, because obviously that's a big issue, is if this is touching the cam, it's going to wear things out and be horrible. That's not what we want. But basically this should bolt into the exact same spot with the same O-ring and everything like the factory one. And yeah, so handy having a lathe. Took a little bit of time setting it up on the 4-jaw chuck, but now we need to put some Loctite on it, confirm the exact heights, and then bolt this in and wire it up, and we should have the connections we need. Looks like we got it the right way around. All right, so that sensor is now working, which is fantastic. That's another thing marked off the list. All right, so the next thing I need to do is, this is a nightmare in here. So I've got a bunch of loose bits and pieces that need to be tidied up so that I can put my tunnel back together again, and also it just doesn't rattle around and move. And obviously we've got live power here and stuff that could short out on things, so I need to have it all locked away. So now I'm going to build a panel to tidy everything up. All right, that's definitely not the prettiest, but I've bolted in this little mounting panel here and cable tied on all of my units onto here, and all of my wiring is all now done and tucked in. And like everything, there is no room anywhere. I've made everything fit in such a small spot, but now I can put the cover on and move on to other things. I started it a couple of days ago, and when I changed the cam sensor, started fine, ran beautifully. Only obviously had it for a couple of seconds. Now it's missing like crazy again. So I'm going to check everything, see if I pull the plugs again, and just see. There's something not right. It almost feels like it's running on 4 cylinders. I don't know what's going on, but we need to check it out. All right, that's been super frustrating. I'm still not sure what's going on, why it's fouling plugs, why it's so rich. I've sent an email to Adam at Link, so hopefully he can have a look at the settings and see if he can do something. All right, well, that was interesting. I got a message back from Adam, and the issue seems to be that the ECU is dropping voltage somewhere. So it seems like it might be a bad connection. So that's going to be fun. So now I'm going to have to start tucking into this and see what I can find as far as the wiring goes, start tracing my steps and see if I can sort out the issue. All right, I got it running again. I ran it with the injectors off a few times and just cranked it through. And I've also got the exhaust valves open. This is running a slightly leaner map, and it's actually finally sort of cleared its throat. Seems like it's running on all cylinders again. So I'm going to warm it up now and just let it idle here, just see if I can get it up to temperature and not leak everywhere. That's the hope. So at this stage, we have 0 leaks. Nothing is dripping, nothing is leaking. We're running, we're warming up. It's actually idling. Yeah, 41 degrees. Everything is looking good so far. I said I have the exhaust valves open. It is really loud with the exhaust valves open. It sounds good, but it's loud. All right, there is a little drop of coolant right in the middle there, but nothing crazy at this stage. Currently, temperature's up to about 77 degrees. The coolant leak's a little bit bigger than it first started off small, and as it got up to temperature, that was up to about 85, 86 degrees, so getting right up there. The fans hadn't kicked on yet. The fans have kicked on since I turned the engine off, but yeah, it's all seems to be running nicely. It doesn't like to idle. I mean, there's tune that needs to be done, but at least it's running again, and now we have coolant leaks to fix. It's hot, so I think I need to get up on the lift and see where those leaks are coming from. All right, I am not confident. I can't actually see where it's coming from, which sort of tells me roughly where it's coming from, and I'm pretty sure it is the adapter plate block off that I made for the water pump. So it's just held on with some gasket goo, which is basically my worst nightmare, is because, yeah, that's going to be a pain. So I've nipped up everything. I've nipped up a bunch of hoses and stuff, but I want to confirm where it's coming from. So I'm going to start it up again. Let's see how the temperature goes and keep it getting back up there, and we'll get it up on the hoist while it's running so I can sort of see what the exactly where it's leaking from. I think I found it. It's an AN fitting. Oh yeah. Yes, yes, yes. So it's probably hard to see, but that AN fitting in the middle of shot there was dripping. So let's crank her up and try her again and see if we've stopped our leak. One more go. Hopefully that was it. Temperature's up to 80. On here it's saying 83, 84, so you know, slight difference in sensors, but that's okay. And still no drips. I wanted to get up and the fans to turn on and see how she runs. 87. Oh yeah, the fans are on. I can see the fans are on by the way that the air is flapping there. How's the temperature now the fans are on? 89, staying at 99 with the fans on. It's working. I'm not sure how it'd go on a really hot day. I mean, today it's 23, 24 degrees probably at the moment. A comfortable day, but it's not a hot day. So let's get it down, get it out, and let's just go and see if I can actually get it out of my driveway and see if it actually will drive. That drives, it moves. My GoPro inside didn't work, so unfortunately I don't have the internal footage, but it's a handful already. Like, that was light throttle and it was already wanting to go. I'm like, yeah, this thing is going to be very, very, very scary. Whoo! It runs and it cools, and I haven't checked, but I don't think it leaks anymore. Let's check. Nothing is leaking. We have a winner. We have brakes, we have cooling, we have a running car. Woo! I was concerned today when we were getting coolant leaks. I couldn't get it started. There were all sorts of issues, and it's all come good. So far, touch wood. It's a running, driving car. It comes up at the temperature and holds the temperature, and the fans work, and the, oh, yes. Whew. Well, on that note, I think it's time for Fun Facts with Mrs. Jeff.
Hey guys, at the 2011 Geneva Motor Show, Ferrari announced a successor to the 612 Scaglietti with the FF. FF stands for Ferrari 4 with the four-wheel drive and the 4 seats. At its release, it had the largest engine that Ferrari had ever put in a road car, with a 6.3 litre V12 making 650 horsepower. Now the shooting brake design was a departure for modern Ferraris, but it was compared to the 250 GT bread van. It featured a special four-wheel drive system developed by Ferrari in the 80s for the 408 4RM. It features a second gearbox on the front of the engine and only has 2 forward gears, second and fourth, and reverse. This is connected to the front wheels via Haldex-type clutches without a differential. As you can imagine, the clutches continually slip and can only transmit as much as 20% of the engine's torque to the front wheels. Now the four-wheel drive is only active in comfort or snow modes. Otherwise, the car runs as a conventional front-engine rear drive layout. This system, which is unique to Ferrari, has the benefit of weighing 50% less than a conventional all-wheel drive system.
Alright guys, and today we've got another episode of Mail Time, and today's mail comes through from Dan Aliotti in Monterey, California. So I actually just missed Dan at Rennsport Reunion. They came, but we didn't end up catching up. I didn't get the message until after I'd left because the service at the track was terrible. But I did talk to Dan later, and he seems like a really interesting guy. He, I believe he worked for Ferrari in North America and met Enzo and had, a lot of history with Alfas and Ferraris himself. So he has sent me through a package, and in that package is a box of old-time candies, but I don't think it's actually candies. Or as we call candies in Australia, lollies. Jeff, if these caps make it onto the Alfarrari, I'll feel I'm part of the build. If not, no worries. Oh, these are definitely fitting onto the Alfarrari. These are, they're actually like air caps for the wheels. They will definitely be going onto the Alfarrari. Yes, thank you, Dan. That's very cool. And a Monterey Carmel magnet, if that will, which will go straight up onto. And he's also sent me through a t-shirt. Oh, that's very cool. Our Fisty of Monterey, California, Alfa Romeo. That is very cool. A big thanks, Dan. You didn't have to do any of that, but it's much appreciated. And these will be going straight onto the Alfarrari. And if you guys have got anything you want to send through to go up on the sticker wall or whatever, you can send it through to Home Built by Jeff, PO Box 1520, Bowral, New South Wales 2576, Australia. Oh, I'm so happy that the car is actually a car. I actually got to drive it up and down the street. I'm really annoyed that the internal camera didn't work, but it's quick. Like it seems like it's quite a high first gear. It still takes off and drives fine, but yeah, it seems like it's got some go. It's going to be a real handful, but it works. It runs. Yeah, it is. Still low. It still crunched the exhaust going over the lip at the top of the driveway, but I'm not too concerned with that. But it should be right for the dyno next week. I was really on the edge there earlier today thinking that it wasn't going to be ready. I was going to have to cancel the dyno. The relief I had when I found that was just a leaking AN fitting. Oh, it was just finger tight. I hadn't done it up properly.
Immense relief. Immense.
So it works. It's cooled down now, and it still hasn't leaked any fluids. It's a running car. Definitely needs a tune. The tune is horrible. It will not go back to idle easily and things like that. But that's what the dyno is for. So hopefully we can get it running, and then I can finish off the interior and finish the car. It's like, it's so close.
I'm so happy for you. This is awesome. Like and subscribe. Let Jeff know what you think. He loves to read your comments. Patreon if you want to support him. And yeah, well, go you.
And we'll see you next time. All right, see you guys.